Hello, this is Kenny Williamson, and welcome back to another Truth Seekers Radio podcast. The name has changed, but everything else is the same, okay? We talked about that in a podcast, but just in case you didn't listen to that podcast, shame on you for not listening to that podcast, right? We've changed the name. Something a little easier, something easier to search, something easier to pronounce. I don't have any problem pronouncing Melchizedek, but some people do. So just a little easier to search, and it's what we do. We're truth seekers here. We've been seeking truth. We've got truthseekersministry.org. It just made sense. So anyway, having said that, same guy, same ugly face, same everything, really. Now, I am going back and forth with some different logos. The name is going to stay the same. It has changed. It is going to stay Truth Seekers Radio. May change the logo around a little bit. I have my guy that does my website. He's trying to tweak my latest one that has a microphone and stuff on it. He's trying to make it look a little better because I can't do it. So he's working on that, so we'll see. So I have something up kind of temporary, and I may change them around. As you can see in this one, I've got all three of them up there. Just to let you know, it's all three the same. Just something a little different. Just trying something different. I look at the analytics on this, on Spotify and stuff. They send me the stuff, and it shows the age limits and stuff, and there's not a lot of young people, like really young, that watch it or listen to it. And I think a lot of that has to do with, Melchizedek Chronicles. Nobody's searching for that. So I thought I'd change a few things up, but it's the same. Still going to be here, Lord willing. I mean, it's kind of like the old scientists that are disappearing in droves. Well, I think we're up to 14 now. I did a podcast the other day, and it's like 11. And then if you added the guy on there from Ancient Aliens, that's 12. But now there's like 13 and 14. So there's two more. And I'll have to go over that some other time. But anyway, Father and His Son. But what I was going to talk about here is, of course, this is an ongoing deal constantly, especially this time of year here, is the weather. We always have weird weather. And now we've went into tornado season. So, we've kind of got used to it around here. In Oklahoma, I'm right on the state line of Oklahoma. Oklahoma, right through there, they call Tornado Alley. Constantly tornadoes. And there's a lot of them here in Arkansas, too. Lots of them. And up in Missouri. I mean, there's tornadoes all around. That's something I've grown up with my whole entire life and just kind of got used to. But having said that, I don't know. Well, let me back up a second. I did a podcast. It's been a while back. And this was whenever one of the, and I can't remember which one of the, things out in the ocean, typhoon or a hurricane, I think it was a hurricane something, blew up into somewhere, and it like turned and went someplace else. And, they had all these radars out there on it, tracking it. And the term weather modification was mentioned and insinuated in this podcast, and it was immediately taken down. I doubt anybody's ever even seen it. It was flagged and taken down like the minute it was put up, because it's false information. Okay, it's misleading. Yeah, so I have to be very, very careful what I say, or this podcast here will be taken down. So we're going to play a game in this podcast, okay? This is a game I like to play. And you're going to catch on. I can't tell you the name of the game, but I think you'll catch on. And the reason I can't tell you the name or how the game is played is because you are not the only one listening to this podcast, right? We also have a little thing called AI listening to this podcast. And as soon as I finish recording this podcast and I go to upload it, AI is going to scan it. And it's going to look at all the words that I've said. And so if I tell you the rules of the game, everybody will know the rules of the game. And I'm not 100% sure now if AI can read, and it can read the rules of the game, and then it can figure out what I'm doing and how I play my game, right? But if I don't say the rules, I just lead you. If I just tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then you somehow understand the rules, maybe we'll get the point across after all. And another thing I'm not sure if AI can do, and it may be, but I don't think so, is, humans have subtle things they can do. You can just look at somebody a certain way and tell things, where a computer doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand that kind of stuff. I don't really think it understands inflections in the voice either. So, you know what I mean type deal. I think it just reads, you know what I mean. I don't know. Anyway, so let's begin. Okay. So, like I said, we've been having lots of weird weather around here. Now, last night, another deal, hit at 2 or 3 in the morning. Luckily, we didn't get a tornado here, but we got some wind and tons of rain and the whole 9 yards. But right across the state line in Oklahoma, in a town called Enid, Oklahoma, they had a giant tornado. They're calling it like a super tornado. It was like a mile wide, and it was real slow. So everything it touched, it destroyed, basically. And so, of course, I didn't get any sleep last night because, sirens going off, phones going off, take shelter type deal. It's like every other night you don't get any sleep because of this bizarre weather. So, obviously, this was a completely natural phenomenon, right? I don't know why you would think otherwise, because there is no such thing as weather modification. You got it? No such thing. So just like this tornado, there's no way that it could be controlled by anybody or started by somebody. That's ridiculous. So, having said that, I was reading an article. See, this thing, what they did is they've got lots of, let's see here. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I should start with it or start with this other one here. Let's see. Okay, well, I was just looking at my notes here. We'll go ahead and start with the one I'm talking about here in Enid, Oklahoma last night. Basically, this thing has been followed on radar. Okay, we have radar facilities all over the United States, and I mean all over. These facilities, along with others, they're designed to track the weather and such. They do not manipulate the weather, okay? All they do is track the weather. So this person here has done their research, and they have everything laid out with a map and everything. And basically, they have a line of thunderstorms kind of headed down that way. And then when it gets to Enid, now, this is completely coincidental, okay? There just so happens to be an Air Force base right there. And it's called Vance Air Force Base. Now, on Vance Air Force Base, right there in Enid, there's a big radar facility set up called NEXRAD. It says it's called the NEXRAD Radar KVNX. And it's located at Vance Air Force Base. Now, it just so happens, and this is coincidence, okay? These thunderstorms rolled that direction, and then when they got to Vance Air Force Base there at the NEXRAD radar, it then turned into a giant tornado. That's coincidence, of course. Now, they have a giant water tower there close in the vicinity as well, right by this radar facility. And this person has noticed, and that they believe that that is not a real water tower, that it's actually got a hidden radar in it. I don't know. Even if it did, that has nothing to do with the weather. Okay? So, but they noticed that, coincidentally, of course, this tornado popped up right there at that NEXRAD, right next to the water tower, and that's where it formed, and then it proceeded to move on. So some of the reports, they said that it started right there in the Air Force Base, but it didn't tear up anything in the Air Force Base. It actually grew to full power right outside the base, and then proceeded to destroy a bunch of stuff. As of now, nobody's got killed. But, most of these people over here in Oklahoma, these areas, they're very familiar with tornadoes. They're happening constantly. So, to take shelter. These aren't people who've never lived through a tornado before. So this was a really, really big, nasty tornado, and it moved really, really slow and did a lot of damage. Nothing to see here, folks. This is in the tornado alley. It always happens there, right? I mean, you would have to be a crazy conspiracy theorist to think that somebody is causing these, because that can't be done. These radar systems are for tracking things, and that's it. Got it? Okay. Now, moving on from that one, well, it just so happens there are some other articles here, and lots of these other tornadoes have started at these military bases or very near the base. And they've got logs of those. Now, is that a coincidence? Of course it is. Of course it is. Now, back up here to the next thing. Let me get my notes back up here. So, let me read you this news report. Okay, I got it pulled up. Now, this is a news report from somebody who is in another country. And on X and on Rumble and probably Patreon, there are lots of these types of news reports coming out. And they're coming supposedly from Iran, Iraq, and Turkey. Okay. Some of these have been translated into English. You will not find these news reports on Fox News, okay, or TV. You won't see any. Now, you'll see this in Hollywood, on your Hollywood movies. You'll see this on there, but of course it's a movie. It's fake. You get that? It's fake. This is not real, okay? And if it just so happens to appear real, then it's a coincidence. You get what I mean? So I'm going to try to read you part of this article or the article, but I can't read it 100% as it's written because it would get this channel banned. Because it's insinuating things that we know is not true. Got it? But I'm going to try to read this, and I'm going to read it and play a game at the same time. Let's see if you can understand it, okay? And if you can't, email me. truthseekers2012@gmail.com. Email me, okay? I think you're going to get it. Okay, so this person says, of course, obviously we've been in a war with Iran, right? I had reported on another podcast that we had these big radar facilities, and it showed one. It said that Iran had destroyed that thing, and it was like a $10 billion radar. And I was referencing the radar because supposedly they said it can see 3,000 miles, 3,000 or 5,000 miles, which, you know, if you listen to the flat earth stuff, radar is line of sight, perfectly straight. It doesn't bend. It doesn't bend. It doesn't go around corners. It's perfectly straight line of sight. So we know that if you're a glober, radar can't see that far because Earth curve, right? The only way it could actually work in the real world is if it was flat. But they won't admit that. They just say that it works, but they won't tell you how it works. Well, they go on to say it bounces and comes back down. It must be bouncing off the moon. You know, maybe it's bouncing off Venus, the planet Venus, right? Okay. So it's all hogwash. But it probably really can see 3,000 miles, and that's because it's flat and it goes on forever, basically. All that aside, the whole point of the whole deal is they supposedly destroyed these radar facilities. And these radar facilities are for tracking airplanes and stuff. That's all they do, right? They don't do anything else. You understand my meaning here, right? Okay, so now let's get to the article. After Iran destroyed U.S. radars in the Middle East, rainfall in Arab countries has increased by 500%. Now, it says, do you think this is a coincidence? Well, of course it is, because radar has nothing to do with the rain. It has nothing to do with weather modification. There's no such thing. Let's go on with the ad, or with the report here. Satellite imagery. Now, we know there's no such thing as satellite, so what is this, balloon imagery or airplane imagery from a high-flying airplane? I don't know which one. Drone, maybe? But we'll go ahead and use their terminology, right? Satellite imagery confirms it. In March 2026, Iranian strikes wiped out at least 10 U.S. radar installations across the Gulf. I don't know. You won't find this stuff in the news, so you don't know how accurate the information is, okay? They're never going to let you know, we're supposedly over there fighting a war in Iran, and we're supposedly just absolutely crushing them. Yeah, that's if you believe the propaganda fake news, right? These people here are saying other stuff. So anyway, let's see. So supposedly destroyed 10 of them, and they were THAAD, THAAD radars in Jordan and the UAE. There was also destroyed what they call an ANFPS 132 early warning system in Qatar. Okay. They were also destroyed at sites in Saudi Arabia's Prince Sultan Air Base. Let's see. Another one in 5th Fleet Headquarters, Kuwait, and more. It says radomes, which is, they've got this round cover on them. That's called the radome. It says the radomes were shattered, SATCOM terminals destroyed, billions in U.S. hardware gone. So they're saying that's what they have destroyed with their drones. Okay. They probably did. And they're destroying everything. Everybody's destroying everything. They're bombing stuff left and right. Now, coincidentally, after all these sites were destroyed, all of a sudden, they got a rainstorm. Now, according to this is all coincidence, right? Unprecedented storm systems slam the Arabian Peninsula and Iran with torrential rains and flash floods in desert cities. It says there was up to a year's worth of precipitation, which is rain, all right, up to a year's worth of precipitation in some spots just in a matter of minutes. UAE and Saudi stations recorded tons of the rain, and in Iran, dams overflowed for the first time in 7 years. And they've got footage of this. You can go see it. It says viral footage shows reservoirs surging where drought had ruled for decades. So one of the things I read is that like this one, like Sultan, I think, and another one, maybe it was Tehran, whatever, however you pronounce those cities over there. They've been in a death-gripping drought for over 15 years. And at one point here recently, they said they're going to have to just start getting people out of there because there's no water. There's nothing. So, now that place is raining right now. So the 15-year drought ended all of a sudden. Gone. Some places over there in Iran, they got videos of this showing, if it's true, it's snowing. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make this stuff up. So let's see. Iranian water experts had warned for years that adversaries were diverting clouds and manipulating patterns to deepen the drought. Well, we know that can't happen. Nobody can do that. That's fake. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. They're saying that these different Gulf nations have poured millions of dollars into their own cloud seeding fleets, which we know they have those, and radar networks to do different things. And after those specific U.S. systems went dark because they were bombed, all of a sudden it says the clouds arrived unblocked, and now they've got rain. In fact, they've got torrential rain. So these guys over here are saying this isn't climate change, or, like we're taught, climate change. Everything's climate change now. And it's also not random weather. According to them, according to Iran, now, assuming you believe everything they say, right? It says when they removed the empire's eyes in the sky, the rains returned to lands that they had been starving. Now, do you believe that? We all know, right, that there's no such thing as weather modification. And at all these radar facilities that have been destroyed in a war have nothing to do with weather modification. There's no such thing. Do you hear me, AI? There's no such thing. Okay? So, what's happening over there? It must be climate change. It's got to be climate change. So, yeah. According to this Iranian website, They're calling it the Epstein Coalition. I wonder why. I wonder why. But it says the Epstein Coalition doesn't just bomb and blockade. They choke the atmosphere itself to break resistant nations. I've never heard it called the Epstein Coalition before, but that makes perfect sense. Anyway, they've got videos on there. Go on X, check it out. They've got huge hail. They've got flood. They've got camels running around in the desert that's got water this deep. Everything's flooded. Everything's underwater. They've got snow over there. So, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. So now, we know there's no such thing as weather manipulation, right? I mean, they're not causing this stuff to happen. Who would be in charge of such a ridiculous thing as that? Having said that, the weather's really changing over there. So they've got out of a drought, they've got rain, they've got snow, they've got hail, they've got everything. So now they've actually got some water over there, according to what you can read on X. Now, again, you're not going to find any of this on any type of fake news. You're not going to hear it on Fox or ABC or CNN, the Clinton News Network. You're not going to see it on there. Okay, it doesn't exist. But yet it's supposedly happening. And we also are we are having random weird tornadoes and stuff over here all the time. Now, they're going to tell you it's climate change. Or just, regular old Mother Nature. And of course, and like I'm telling you, that's what I have to say too. That's what it is. It's not anything else. It's not radar stations set up all over the place, cranking out radar. Okay? It's not that. It's simply pure randomness from Mother Nature. So we've got that going on. Anyway, so having said all that, you be the judge. Go check it out. And I may talk more about it. What I need to do is another one of these and talk openly about it. But I'm going to have to put it on Rumble and I'm going to have to put it on Patreon. So you won't be able to see it on Spotify. You'll have to trail over there if you want to watch it. But hey, it's just a point and click away. It's not like you're having to travel, all right? So we may talk about that here again in the near future because I think it's very interesting. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there. Let me verify that's all my notes on here. Yeah, the only other one I've got on here, I've got another article where they're talking some more about it. And according to them, it says that the United States has deliberately or admitted to deliberately doing this different stuff over here. And because they have an American weather expert, but they don't say who this person is. But they're saying in this article that 18 radars systems that Iran destroyed in the region were not only military missile and anti-aircraft radars, but some of them were so-called meteorological radars. We've got those like NEXRAD and all that. They're telling us they're keeping track of the weather. They're not changing the weather. They're keeping track of it for us. And so 18 of them were destroyed over there. Now, according to this Iranian article, after targeting and completely destroying all of these radar stations, which were in Erbil, I'm probably not saying that right. Erbil, Erbil, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates. They opened the space for rain-producing clouds and favorable weather to enter Iran. That's hearsay, of course. And they said that these different pictures, and they show some pictures of them, it says that is since 1980, which has been about 25 years, there has been little to no rain in Iran, and there's been a drought this whole time. Since the 80s. Anyway, having said all that, me and you both know that there's no such thing as weather modification. And what's going on over there is purely coincidental. Okay. All right. So, give me your thoughts on that. If you have any questions or comments or want to ask some more questions, give me an email. truthseekers2012@gmail.com. Other than that, that's about all I can say on it. I mean, there's a whole lot I'd like to say, and you know I would love to go on a rant and give you my opinion, right? And tell you all about it and what I think they're doing and who's behind it. But if I did that, you would never get to hear it because it wouldn't go very far. So I'll leave all that out this time. But I think most of you probably know exactly what I'm thinking and what I would say. Having said all that, we played a little game. I hope you liked it. Hope you understood it. I guess we could call it the opposites game. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but it's a game. I'm going to have to do that. I have to do that on stuff. You know, just like if you go to the doctor and they come in there into your room with a rattlesnake and you get a rattlesnake bite, you know what that is. You know what it's like, right? Seeing people get bit by rattlesnakes and then, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Anyway, having said all that, I'm going to wrap this one up. Yeah, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, be sure and let me know. Let me know what you think about this Truth Seekers Radio. I think it rolls off the tongue a little easier. Let me know what you think about all that. And yeah. Other than that, I think that's it for the moment anyway. Have any questions, you know how to get in contact with me. truthseekers2012@gmail.com. It's Flatbro. truthseekersministry.org. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Until we meet again, God bless you.